This is Daf Yerushalmi Terumos. In the article, Oz B'Hara edition, we're on Daf Vav Amud Aleph. There's a header here. Nachish Tama is to show Yisrael Chulei, the third line down. In the Vilna, it's Daf Gimel Amud Aleph. Before the line, the narrow lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. Well, 6 lines from the bottom. Rabbi Zira, Rabbi Acha, there is no header here. Okay, so now we have one of the more famous drushes in Shas. Rabbi Zira, it's no good. Rabbi Zira, Rabbi Acha, Rabbi Yasser, Rabbi Yocham, Shem Rabbi Yanai, say atem, gam atem. It says you, plural, also you. The Rabos, the also, meaning the shliach. Rabos shuchachem, which Gam includes the shliach. Ma'atem b'nei bris, av shluchachem b'nei bris. Just like you are children of the covenant, meaning you are not Jew, you're Jews. So your shluchim have to be Jews. Atem osim shliach. Well, actually, the other way around. Only you can make a shliach, and a goy can make a shliach. Atem osim shliach, and a goy osim shliach. Rabbi Yossi Sovar Meimar. Rabbi Yossi want to say, "Ein goy osim shliach b'goy acher chavero." A goy cannot make a shliach of another goy. But he can make a shliach of a Yisrael. He wanted to say this, right? Amalei Rabbi Zira minei uminei. Rabbi Zira said, no. We learn from it and from it. Atem osim shliach. You can make shliach lo b'Yisrael. Doesn't mean only Yisrael can make a shliach. Because of ein a goy os a shliach, afil b'Yisrael. So to a goy can't make a shliach, and even if it's a Jew. Even if the shliach is a Jew. So the Torah it excluded a goy from shlichus altogether. So that again, that's bitmiya. Amalei zeh minei. I'm not sure. Atem osim shliach. Atem osim shliach. Lo b'Yisrael. Wasn't a Jew. And a goy is a shliach v'afil b'Yisrael. Host Rabbi Yoshia. So Rabbi Yoshia asked, "Well, Masisa Masai Rabbi Yossi." The following brisa seems to be evidence. Rabbi Yossi, Tani Rabbi Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, "My mitzvah goy as a shlo yitron perusav." The Jew wants to. The goy does not want to be torem. Doesn't like truma on his produce. Ain't a rashai. Is that is he not permitted to do so? So it's a little bit more complicated case than it appears in the Gemara at face value. So Yisrael gets a soda from a goy, the mechtel shishavia. He's a sharecropper. According to Tanakh Tosefta, he has to take a meiser also on the portion of the goy, and he adds from his own chelek, the owner, to make up the chelek of the sharecropper. And this is a takana, in order that Jews not want to be makabel sodos from a nachri, and the field remains from a so therefore the nachri will have nobody to sharecrop his field, and it's going to sell to a Jew. Okay, so again, in order to get you to buy as incentive to buy the field, or incentive to go to sell the field, and then you sold to buy the field, we make the Yisrael pay for the give mice also the chelik of the goy, right? So the from his own chelik, which you gets as a sharecropper. So then this as this incentivizes, I guess, a Jew from taking the field of the goy. The field of the goy will therefore remain fallow, and he's going to sell to a Jew. That's the Rambam and the Rash in the Mai Perek Vav Mishnah Aleph. So in that, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel comes and says, he says the fruit of the goy are potter, right? He doesn't want to return person ain't a rashai, so he allowed to not to take off trumas and maasros, right? So Um, so why would the Oris? We can't say the Oris is chayiv Trumas Ma'aser on the fruit of a guy who doesn't want to give. But there's an inference here. Haimrotza Torim. If the non-Jew wants to do truma, he can do truma. So if that's the case with Chora, how does he make truma? A guy can't make truma. It must be through the shliach, right? So we see that a guy can make a shliach, a Yisrael, to take off trumas for him. So the Gemara says no. Am Rabbi Abba ben Mamin al Yodo. Ben Mamin al Yodo means to certify or to prove what the Jew does. So ben Mamin al Yodo means that it's not a real shlichus. It is the goy, the way the Chazon, he brings down a Kavanagh from the Chazon Yechezkel, from Chatzko Bransky. The goy is korei shem on the afrosh of the Jew, and it's not not shlichus. So it remains the truma of a goy on which Yisrael is mafresh, but not that the Yisrael is a shliach to be mafresh the truma for the goy. So we see, bottom line is, a Yisrael cannot be a shliach for appointed by the Jew, non-Jew. He's not a halachic shliach ever. It can be a dina machusa shliach, but it can't be a halachic shliach to make the chales. The Yisrael can be a halachic shliach to make chales, which the goy cannot make. You can't do it through shlichus. Whatever can be accomplished, only can be accomplished by the goy himself by being mamin al yodo, meaning affirming that decision. Okay, Rabbi Yochanan Shem Rabbi Yanai. Rabbi Yochanan say name Rabbi Yanai. Yisrael Shemala ben Levi. A regular Yisrael said to a ben Levi, and the ben Levi here seems to be a real ben Levi, not a Kohen. Kur Ma'aseh yesh l'cha b'yadi. I have a kur, which is a large amount, a Ma'aseh I'm going to give you. V'achos ben Levi, before he got it, Levi went and made a so Chumas Ma'aseh Mokam. He made this kur Chumas Ma'aseh on somebody else. And then the Jew gave the actual Meiser to a different Ben Levi. Not the Ben Levi he promised to originally. He gave it to a different Ben Levi. So the Ein Lo Love El Terumos. So the first Ben Levi, he's up the creek. His Trumas Meiser doesn't take effect. But he only can be upset at him. There's nothing he can do about it. Says Gemara, no, wait a minute. That is talking about that when the Yisrael gave it to the second Levi, before the first Levi made a Shumas Ma'is on other produce. But if the Ben Levi pounced and made Shumas Ma'is out of this produce before the owner double-crossed him and gave the Ma'is to somebody else, low. That case, the Yisrael cannot be chayzeba. It's too late. Kiyadam asnisa, and it's going like the following brisa. The detail, if you make a shliach to make truma for you, and they decide to be mavatel the shliach, bitel imach lo turn bitel. If the bitel took place in the gate of the shliach before he took off truma, ain't Shumas Truma. Being Misha Torah, but if it was after the Shliach took off the Truma, the Truma is valid Truma, and it doesn't have the capacity, because it doesn't have the capacity. It's too late to be about those Shlichus. So the Gemara says, V'chula Minei was like Kok Minei in the Bavli. How could he take Trumas and Meisers before it came into his hands, right? Ben Levi, I think he's going back on the first case. The Ben Levi, how can he make a Trumas Meiser somewhere else if it's still not his? It's like it should be similar to Torah Mishachaber Shlo B'Shuso. So how do it work in the first place? Yeah, but then we said, okay, and that made the Yisrael can't renege. But how did it work in the first place? So the Yerushalmi says that once the Yisrael says to Levi, "You have a quarter mice in my hands," Nase shlucho shel zeh. He becomes like a shliach. Shel zeh, I think, is in addition to Kavanoki. Uh, yeah, the shel zeh Kavanoki adds on. So nimtza, so it's effectively Keturim B'Rishus Yisrael. So now it's like he's being Torah with the permission of Yisrael, of the Mishalech, and in fact, therefore, since he gave a shlichus, even though it's not his yet, since the shliach he has carte blanche, and can make a chumas ma'aser somewhere else, as so to speak, the shliach of the original owner. So it's a fascinating idea, really fascinating, right? The fact that he promised to give it to him makes him kaviyachol a shliach. Even though it's taking you the chumas ma'aser to take for a mokam acher, not on the original owner's fruit. He's still considered to be a shliach, and therefore it's effective, and that's why the mishalech cannot renege on the deal. Now the Mora says. Patlak Rabbi Yossi. This is, we explained this according to Rabbi Yossi. The time, like we learned, Rabbi Yossi Mer says, "V'abai shetermas ma'asrois, masha osui, masha osui." The Babasu took up the Meister on. I'm not sure. What he pointed Shliach, right? Babais pointed Shliach. Sorry, that was wrong shot. It says Babais Termas and Meisers is not talking about case of Shlichus. It's talking about a Babais who takes off Trumas Meiser. Even though he's not supposed to. He's supposed to let the Levi take off the Trumas Meiser. If he took off Meiser and took off Trumas Meiser, which of course is what we do with Manazeh, when we take off when we take off Meisers, the Mafresh takes off the Trumas Meiser and doesn't leave it for the Levi to do so. So Ba'abai Shadores Meisers, he takes off Trumas Meiser from the Meiser Rishon before he gives it to Levi. Masha also Asui. What he did, and it's effective. So the obviously that's the source that a Baal Bayis can make a shliach to take up Chumas Meiser, because he has the koyach to take up Chumas Meiser himself. Even though it's not an ideal situation, he can do it. So that's why that's going to Rabbi Yossi, that the Baal Bayis has the authority to take up Chumas Meiser. So therefore, he can make the Levi, who he promised to give the Meiser to, Kaviyachol a shliach to take up Chumas Meiser. So that's why it works. Even the Ben Levi makes a Chumas Meiser Mokum Acher. So the Amar Rabbi Yechim B'Shem Rabbi Yanai Yisrael Sh'Amar LeBen Levi Yisrael told the Ben Levi Kur Meiser Yesh B'Yodi. That's basically what we said on the at the top, right? Amar Rabbi Yechim B'Shem Rabbi Yanai Yisrael Sh'Amar LeBen Levi. So this is a variation on this theme. This is the same statement, just going after we know Rabbi Yossi's principle. Yisrael Sh'Amar LeBen Levi Kur Meiser Yesh B'Yodi. Koishish L'Chumas Meiser Shabo. So he has to be concerned that the Chumas Meiser was not necessarily taken off, even though even though it should say that he has to take off Chumas Meiser, it says he's Cheshish, because perhaps the Abbas didn't take off Chumas Meiser. He could, Abbas could have, but perhaps he didn't, and therefore the Ben Levi has to be Cheshish for Chumas Meiser Shabo. V'im amar lo helach domav. But if the the Ba'abais offered the Levi the money, he said, you know what, just leave the court by me. I'll pay you, compensate for you, compensate you for it. So so then, what if Levi then? There's a gross shot. What if Levi then refused to accept the money? He took the meiser instead. He doesn't have to fix it because he says since the Babas is willing to pay him for the entire core, he must take a Chumas Meiser already off from somewhere else. Because otherwise, why is he offering to pay for the entire core? He should only pay for 9/10 of the core. Because 1/10 the Levi would have to give away anyway. So if he wants to pay for the entire core, it must be that the Chumas Meiser, the Babas took off the Chumas Meiser for somewhere else. That's and therefore in a choshen Chumas Meiser Shabo is not that's been concerned with the Chumas Meiser in it. The So this is not like the Girsa in our Gemara. That's the Groz changes the Girsa. In our Gemara, the Girsa is Rabbi Yoshem Rabbi Yanai. Yisrael Shomai Ben Levi Kor Ma'aser Yesh Rabbi Yodi V'Helchas Domav Choshesh Chumas Ma'aser Shabo. You had Diati Choshesh Chumas Ma'aser. So here it says no. It says that if he gave him the money, the Kavanokis Girsa, which is the Groz Girsa, is Melo Hebel Domav Eino Choshesh Chumas Ma'aser Shabo. So therefore, he puts in the whole statement beforehand. Yisrael Shomar Ben Levi Kur Ma'aser Yesh Rabbi Yodi Choshesh Chumas Ma'aser Yodo. That's not in our Gemara. Okay, there's two separate. The Gra makes it in two separate cases. In the Gemara we have it's one big case. Yisrael Shomar Ben Levi Kur Ma'aser Yesh Rabbi Yodi V'Helchas Domav Choshesh Chumas Ma'aser Shabo. Says Gra. No, there are two separate cases here. A Yisrael who says to Ben Levi, Kur Ma'aser Yesh Rabbi Yodi, Choshesh Chumas Ma'aser Shabo, the Levi has to assume that perhaps, even though he had the right to do so, at least b'diavad, that the Ba'abas did not take Chumas Ma'aser, and therefore he has to take Chumas Ma'aser. New case, Amar Lo Helach Domav, if the Yisrael Ba'abas said to him, take the money for it, Ain't no Choshesh Chumas Ma'aser, but ain't no Choshesh Chumas Ma'aser. He has to be concerned that Chumas Ma'aser because it must be that Ba'abas would not have already taken off Chumas Ma'aser, otherwise he wouldn't offer him money for the whole core. So it's a different case than the case according to the Girsa and our Gemara. And then the Gemara brings down Kada Ilufusa, like the case with Ilufusa, which evidently is a name. What's the case? That Kadaya Fusa Yoav Rabbi Shimon Abba Meiser. The Fusa came Rabbi Shimon Abba Meiser Amle Mesukanhu. He said it's already fixed. Evidently he says he took up the Chumas Meiser. Asked Rabbi Yochanan, and he came ask Rabbi Yochanan rely on him. So Shimon Abba is obviously Levi. So he asked him, can I rely on him? Amar Levi, Rabbi Yochanan said, Ilufusa Achenu Namanu. Ilufusa, our brother, is trustworthy. So he said you can rely on him. Now, the Gemara is saying, going to the Gra and the Kabanaki, what are we learning out from this case? We learn from this case that normally the Ba'abas is not going to take off Chumas Ma'aser. That's why Ben Levi has to be Choshesh. Because otherwise, what's the Chiddush? Right? Well, of course they believe in Fusa that it's Metukan, because that's the default. Must see it's not the default. Must see the Ba'abas has the right, can do it, but it doesn't necessarily do it. So therefore, he had to ask whether Fusa is credible. We asked him, Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi asked him for Rabbi Yochanan, evidently on this occasion. Come on, Rabbi Yossi. There's like Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yossi, Babai Shetarmas on Ma'aser. Babai took up Chumas Ma'aser works, but the inference being that it's not something which he necessarily does, right? That so you're saying that. Are you going to tell him Ilfusas Neman? Did he have to ask you for Ilfusas Neman? And he responded Ilfusas Neman because we know Babais can do it, but he doesn't necessarily do it. Malay, so he said, yes, Bavlaya, Babylonian one. That was they called Rabbi Yasa, who evidently changed his name when he moved to Eretz Yisrael. The Chutzar's name was Rabbi Yasa, Ravasi. Now it's called Rabbi Yasa. So therefore he says to him, yes, Kamta you understood, you understood exactly what's going on here. So the well, before I said Rabbi Yochanan said this in our Gemara there's 2 dots and the Kavanokis in 2 dots. There's no 2 dots. On the second statement, Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Yana, so Shimon ben Levi, Kur Ma'aseh Shchol Biyadi, Chosh Chumas Ma'aseh Shabo. With the 2 dots, it sounds like it's a completely separate sugya, but it's not really. Like I said before, this is a variation on the theme of the Shimon ben Levi, Kur Ma'aseh Shchol Biyadi. Before that, the question is whether the who's responsible for Trumas Meiser. So really the Ben Levi is responsible for Trumas Meiser, but Trumas Meiser Shabo means that since really he's responsible, so therefore he has a question Trumas Meiser. And the flip side is that, before we said that he can make a Trumas Meiser Mokamacher. Evidently, however, there was already a growing custom back then, and perhaps even most people, they took up the Trumas Meiser themselves before they gave the Levi the Meiser, and that's why Ilfusa, we have the story of Ilfusa, where he actually did that, and Rabbi Yochanan said he could trust him. I guess maybe it wasn't most people, maybe it was just some people. But in any event, it was that we had, there are 2 possibilities, either that the owner himself does it, or that the Levi does it. And this the fact that either one could do it causes some degree of confusion, which led to our sugya. And I think that brings us to Zayin Amud Aleph. And I hope I didn't bring you to any confusion. And that brings us to the end for today.